Right, of course, because I should know who that is.
I don't care what you think.
I'll
tell you something that rubbed me right.
Felger and Mazz on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Don't confuse moral and ethical. Diana's in a space where it's moral and ethical. Mike's is moral. And again, these are allegations. That's the other reason I don't talk about it. But I do want to create or provide clarity on that when you say, well, why doesn't the mainstream? I don't think mainstream broadcasters, writers talk about moral stuff. If it becomes ethical, if a reporter gets fired for this, then that means the New York Times discovered ethical breaches. Therefore, the mainstream media comes in to discuss. They have evidence, therefore, of an ethical lapse. So I'm supporting the mainstream media. It's one thing if you're a podcaster with a small following, a blogger, your latitude on this stuff. You talk about what you want when you want. But for the major media players, mostly we wait for an ethical breach, which is confirmed by an employer, to discuss.
And explaining why he hasn't talked about it, which is just part of the part of Dianna Russini's statement that bothers me. I mean, she didn't use the word witch hunt, but the tone was that of that. In the days that followed, unfortunately, commentators in various media have engaged in a self-feeding speculation that is simply unmoored from the facts. This media frenzy is hurtling forward without regard to the review process that The Athletic is trying to complete. It continues to escalate, fueled by repeated leaks, and I have no interest in submitting to a public inquiry that has already caused far more damage than I am willing to accept. She doesn't use the word witch hunt, but she's
used the word frenzy. There hasn't been a frenzy.
No one was talking about it. To a fault. No one was talking about it. Colin Cowherd, who's no shrieking violent, didn't touch it for 6 days. And then the only way he mentioned it was to say why I'm not talking about it. So I think that Russini and especially Vrabel have gotten an exceptionally light touch on this. So if they want to turn around and play the victim, stop it. Give me a break. Preposterous claim there. So again, that's just one I'm just sort of stuck on. But Colin just sort of laid out the ground rules there. Well, now that one of their employers has weighed in with an ethic violation, then the mainstream media comes in. Okay. So can I expect this tomorrow on my Get Up show with Mike Greenberg?
Yeah, let's see. I doubt it.
Or am I going to get more on the WNBA draft?
No, there will be some sort of,
getting shoved in my face.
And more WrestleMania coverage, Michael.
Oh, and that, right. Women's basketball and the wrestling. Thank you. That's the other one. No, just keep feeding me that. Versus one of the most prominent national football writers just caught hot tubbing and had to resign with the reigning coach of the year. I'm much more interested in who the Vegas Aces drafted 3rd overall and freaking the cage match or whatever the F they're shoving in my face with these clowns in the wrestling
circus.
Good God, do you care about ratings or not?
No.
I'm sure the wrestling does okay.
Does great.
That other thing, my God. Please, with the WNBA already. Anyway, your thoughts, Mazz, currently on the Russini story.
No, look, what Murray said earlier, too, at some point, Vrabel's got to come out and say something here and address it. Because, again, people, there's not going to be any real discipline for him. But, look, it's hard. We all saw what we saw.
The New York Times just exposed his denial as bullcrap.
Pretty much. Yes, pretty much. And so he's got to address it at some point. And the other thing I was telling you, because I was reading some of their comments again, and I suppose, at the end of the day, you can decipher these however you want. But all they really said was the photos are misleading. They never really said we've never had any sort of... Now, look, maybe that's implied.
I think Vrabel's answer was absolutely implied. He said anyone who construes anything else other than that in the photos, it's laughable.
Right. He did say laughable.
So I think he went on the attack on that. I think for all intents and purposes, he denied that anything inappropriate was going on.
So maybe you're right. I just, the way he said the photos don't show anything else anymore,
You think he leaves himself wriggle room?
So I don't know. I just think he's talking about the photos there.
Wriggle room from what?
No, I'm not talking about wiggle room. I'm just saying I think it's more likely that it's true, that it wasn't, you could easily come out and say there's never been anything physical between us. We're friends and that's all it is. They didn't do that. I mean, it wasn't that blunt. Now, maybe Vrabel did. I told you, maybe it's a matter of interpretation. So there's always stuff like that. But look, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. The photos are enough. And I would tell you that just being in the hot tub together is a bad look for a reporter.
Oh, you think? Really?
It's a bad look. So the frenzy is just, once that happens, you've gone too far anyway. Like, there's no going back from that because it's all about perception. And if people think that you're in the hot tub with every coach in the league, then forget it. You're done.
I just don't think she's been treated unfairly. I don't. I think women in these stories, there's a general unfairness versus how we look at the man versus the woman. I will accept that. But in her case, she carried herself a certain way.
So I don't dispute that either. I would love to hear from more women in the media on this. Like, I don't know how many of them will actually speak, because I'd be eager to know how many of them are saying exactly what you're saying, in which case I'd say they speak from experience.
And by the way,
it's hard to say as a guy, Mike. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I know. You sound, we would sound sexist, but I'm just telling it like it is. I mean, she's the one who decided to carry herself that way. And so she makes her bed, she lies in it. And I'd say the same thing about Vrabel. Now, I mean, we've been on Vrabel. I mean, I feel I'm clean on this because I'm on him too. It's not like I'm one of these football writers who aren't touching the thing. We've been talking about it every day since it broke. And if he wants to carry himself this way, this is the way he deserves everything he's getting too. He's not being treated unfairly. If anything, he's getting way too much of the benefit of the doubt. If I hear anything from him with him playing the victim, please, even worse than Russini, way worse. No one's touching you. No one's going after you, pal. So I don't want to hear that. And I don't want to get him in trouble for something he hasn't done yet. But his initial statement is kind of along those lines. It's laughable. It's laughable for me to read into the hot tubbing and the sunlight dancing on the rooftop of the bungalow. Stop it. Please.
There's an air of defiance by using that term.
Yeah,
laughable.
It's totally fair.
So you get what you get. If this is how you want to roll, then this is how you roll. And like I've said this a million times, I'm not perfect, and I'm not casting any moral aspersions because I make mistakes in all parts of my life too. And so we're all human. I get it. But if you make that mistake, you are responsible for it. And if this is the way you carry yourself, if this is what you want to do, you want to run around, and you get nabbed, then you deal with the consequences. I have no sympathy for you. It's very simple. If you don't want to land on page 6 of the New York Post, hot tubbing and canoodling with the NFL sideline reporter, then don't drive 2 hours into the desert and jump in a hot tub with her. That's pretty simple, don't you think? It's not like you're some victim or you got caught, you just randomly got caught in a bad spot. You put yourself in it. That's how you choose to carry yourself, Mike. So you deserve everything that you get. That's your bed. You lie in it. It's not my problem. I just don't want to hear the playing the victim part. Stop it. Pat in Framingham, your thoughts?
Yeah, Vrabel should be held more accountable for this. It's a moral and ethical issue on his part. Interacting with reporters is part of his job, and he had something to gain from it, as well as he had something that she needed, which is his scoops. Mike, if your daughter went into the business, you would not want this situation to be okay in the sense that NFL coaches can say, oh, yeah, I can give the scoop to my buddy who I go out for beers with, or I can give it to you, young female reporter, but you know what it costs, yada, yada, yada. It's not acceptable. He should be fired. He should be getting the Udoka treatment. I know Kraft won't do it based on his history, but the NFL should step in. He shouldn't have a job, really.
Okay. I don't believe
that's
that.
going too far.
No, I don't believe that either. But look, because again, the stakes are just much higher for her than they are for him. But that doesn't mean the organization should be happy about it.
Look, if he wasn't a winning NFL football coach, he might lose his job.
Yeah, maybe.
If he were in the private sector, I mean, the dude and the guy, I mean to laugh, but the kiss cam couple at the
Coldplay
freaking
concert.
Cold, did he lose his job?
I think they both did.
I don't know about him. I think she did.
They both resigned.
So, like most workplaces, You're not. There's standards. There's rules against inter-office dating and disclosing it or whatnot.
Right.
And then usually it's not just fellow employees. It might be vendors or people you do business with.
Absolutely.
And it sort of extends to not just an inter-office romance, but a personal relationship with someone that does business with your company. And there's standards and rules there about what you're allowed to do and not allowed to do and what you have to disclose and not disclose. Every company has those parameters. And
yeah, the baseline is don't make us look bad. If you make us look bad.
Well, I mean, I don't know if that's that. I mean, they just don't want there's
the
just
appearance of impropriety.
Or impropriety,
period.
Whatever. There's just
either
rules.
or.
Right. So I'm saying if Dianna Russini isn't an employee of the Patriots or the NFL, but she's the equivalent of a vendor or a client or
Definitely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Definitely.
And in a lot of companies, the equivalent relationship, I think, would expose him. But because it's football and he just won the coach of the year and they went to the Super Bowl, he's not going to get touched. And but the sports isn't real life. So it's like it's apples to oranges. But she had to deal with the real life ramifications
yes,
of it.
she did.
So she worked for a company that has those standards and those rules. He works for the freaking NFL where it's a free-for-all.
Correct.
So I guess that's unfair to her. But she knows the rules on that one.
Yeah, well,
or she should. She knows that I'm going to get in trouble more than you. She damn straight knew that.
No, you know that going in. Yep, you know that going in. That part of it is absolutely true.
We'll have more on this. We do have to touch on Garrett Crochet last night. It's not often you turn on a ball game and are just flat out stunned. Mouth open, stunned is what I was last night with that Red Sox game.
I felt the same way.
I mean, I bet we all did. You could not believe what you were seeing.
I think the broadcasters felt that way.
We'll touch on that and get more of your thoughts right after these words.
Mike and Tony have a definite chemistry.
Are they? 100%.
Are they?
Yes, 100. Do I stutter?
Do you
Consider them the periodic table of sports talk.
Put that in your pipe and smoke it. Sorry. I mean to blow a gasket.
No. Blow it, baby. Blow it.
Felger and Mazz.
And a ground ball, and that's fair. Just inside the chalk. A run scores. Back-to-back two-base hits, 1-0 Minnesota. Runner taken off, and it's swung on and lined into left, and that's going to be down for a base hit. That'll score another one. And Crochet's problems against Minnesota continue. 2-0 Twins. Ground ball up the middle. Story diving for that. On the glove, it rolls. One run is in. Here comes the second runner to score. And it is 4-0 Minnesota. What an ugly start. And hard hit, smacked into left field. Buxton is in. That'll reload the bases. That'll also make it 5-0. Driven deep into right center field. St. On racing back, turning around. That ball is going to be off the wall. 1 run in, 2 runs in. 7-0. Goodness gracious. Second and third, infield in for Caratini. Swinging a high, deep drive left field. He crushes this one out of here. Into the second deck. 10-0 Minnesota.
It's like the Twins have a pitch calm in their helmet.
There's another one. Hammered deep to left field. And that one deeper than the first one. And 11-0 Minnesota. Unexpected and shocking. Do not begin to touch on that.
I'm just in shock. I didn't even know this was possible.
What it sounded like in the early going, the first 2 innings of that game in Minnesota last night. I mean, we all have a story like this. Like, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I rarely do this, but I passed out on the couch last night. Early in the night, I was up super early, and I was just exhausted. I just randomly passed out on the couch, which I never do. But I did after, 30 minutes. I woke up, I saw the Red Sox down 4-0 in the second inning. I'm like, oh, I wasn't expecting this. And I immediately turned it over the second inning to immediately watch Garrett Crochet get his teeth kicked into the downside of his throat.
I mean, that was we use a term like, he got his ass kicked. That was it was a historic ass kicking.
It is rare to be truly stunned by what you're seeing. I was stunned by what I was seeing last night. Mazz, what are your thoughts?
Same. I mean, how do you feel anything else? My first thought was it was 2-0 early on, and I said, he'll get out of this, and then, probably shut him down the rest of the way. And then it got to 4. And then the next inning, it got to 5. And then there was the ball hit off the wall. And then the one hit into the upper deck. And then another hit into the upper deck. So I felt the same way everyone else did. I also looked at it and said, is Cora going to come get him at any point, or is he just going to let him get his brains beat in all night? He didn't come out till it was 11-zip.
I haven't seen balls hit. It's one thing to sort of give up a bunch of runs.
They were hitting missiles off of him.
Missiles!
Missiles is right. They were rockets.
I have not only have I never seen him get hit that hard, I don't know if I've seen many guys get hit that hard.
No, very unusual. Very unusual. Again, there were bullets. There were bullets everywhere.
I couldn't believe what I was seeing.
And it was getting worse as it went.
Yeah, at 5-0, I'm glad to hear you say this, because at 5-0, I was thinking to myself, why isn't someone warming up? The plan should be, all right, I need to protect this guy. This is my ace. And so who was the Red Sox pitcher he hung out to dry?
Oh, Kyle Barraclough.
That's what that felt like last night. That's exactly what that felt like last night.
Well, didn't you expect eventually Crochet was going to
get people out?
Punch somebody out and then go on from there?
I mean, so again,
yes-ish, but again, with the velocity of those balls jumping off those Twins bats, it felt like this feels like batting practice. Like, he's got to get out of there. I don't think this is going to get better. Again, they were hitting rockets off of him.
You blame Cora for leaving him out there?
I do. Yeah, to let it get to 11-0. It was 7-0 before the home runs even happened. Get him out of there. What are you doing?
I couldn't believe it.
No, I couldn't either. And again, so two things.
Was it the 9-hitter? So one guy, the 3-run home run that almost got to the triple deck in left field. It hit the signage right at the base of the third deck in left field. That was a 3-run bomb. Then I think he got the next 2 guys, and then someone came up and hit it even harder into the same spot. I think that was their 9-hitter, if I'm not mistaken.
Kreidler.
Their 9-hitter. I think it measured 433 or something?
Yeah, that's right. 438, I think it was.
Jesus.
Yeah, no, it was a smash. Again, that was a smash.
It's absolutely stunning.
So there were 2 things that pop into your head when something like that's going on. Number one is with the velocity down, he's hurt. It's not right. But even then, he's still throwing 95, 94 and a half. It's not like he's throwing 90, right? So that's, you still have to hit it, is the point. And you would think just by luck you'd get a pop-up somewhere along the line. The other thing is that he's tipping pitches and they knew what was coming. So it's what, that's what you, and I wonder if the Red Sox believed that there was some of that going on, and maybe a combination of the two, because the velocity was definitely down, but they squared up everything.
Oh my God. So if that's in the cards,
look out.
Pork City.
Yeah, look out.
That's it.
So, and that might be part of the reason Cora left him in.
Holy jeez.
But you would think just out of sheer respect, you'd go out and get the ace off the mound, sort of to spare him the dignity of getting his head kicked in like that. But, you probably need innings. I know they activated some kid from AAA today who I've never heard of.
Jeff and Norwood, your thoughts on last night?
John, yeah, that was not a lot of fun to watch, but I will say that I've never seen a pitcher of his quality get raked like that. But Skubal got pounded on 4-7 in Minnesota, and then Framber Valdez for Detroit got pounded in Minnesota on 4-8. Very much the same way. Skubal not as bad. That's 3 left-handed pitchers getting pounded in Minnesota. So
it sounds like a Hank Jr. song. You OD'd in Denver. I got pounded in Minneapolis.
Yeah, I was with a lefty who got pounded in Minneapolis. No, it's true. Cora made a comment about this after the game. They've been hitting lefties lately, and so I don't know. Maybe there's something there.
And hitting lefties in that park?
Yes, I think.
I mean,
maybe
it's possible.
Yeah, maybe there's a better angle at the catcher from with a lefty on the mound.
All these teams cheat their face off.
Absolutely.
Signs, whatever it is. So I don't know what's going on there. You kind of better hope it's that, and that it's not the other thing. That it's not.
I'd be worried about that velocity dip. I'd be worried about that.
And that started before last night, right?
Last night it was pronounced. So I don't think it was anything significant in his other outings. But last night it was pronounced. I mean, he was a good 4 or 5 miles an hour, 3 or 4 anyway, under normal.
Dean in Shrewsbury on this. Go ahead, Dean.
Hi. I was wondering why Chris Sale and all these other pitchers are suddenly throwing more cutters. It's sort of like the off-speed obsession we had 2 years ago. Everybody's cutters up. It's such a cookie cutter approach, and we even have a guy on our team named Cutter that's a pitcher, so it's like they're obsessed with that.
So I feel like that's been a couple of years in the making.
Yeah,
now.
no, that's not just a this year thing. That pitcher's like, there's a pitch every so often that becomes the rage. Everybody loves the cut fastball because it's velocity and it moves, obviously, depending on which side you're throwing from, like a slider. So it doesn't have the depth of a slider, but it can be difficult for batters to pick up. Look, I think all these guys throw too many pitches, but that's got nothing to do with last night. I mean, that thing was like batting practice.
I have never seen a team barrel up someone like that. I mean, even sucky pitchers.
No, I want to give you the actual complete total line of that outing because it's absolutely outrageous.
I know. So he walked some guys in the first inning, which I missed, but the second inning was just one rocket shot after the next.
1 2/3, 9 hits, 11 runs, 10 earned, 3 walks, 2 homers, 0 strikeouts. 0 strikeouts from a guy who's one of the best strikeout pitchers in the game, if not the best. It's just how do you explain that?
All right, you can try. You want to weigh in on that? Also,
he got pummeled.
Also, breaking news this hour, Dianna Russini has resigned as a result of her dalliance, whatever it was, with Mike Vrabel last week. What's the fallout here in New England for Vrabel and that story in general? So here are the details in the update, and then we're back to discuss right after this.
Oh, yeah!
Thoughts, calls, emails.
Oh, yeah!
I get my jollies out of it. I do. I'm not a good person. Go ahead.
Felger and Mazz.
Oh, yeah!
98.5, the Sports Hub.
Shefty, one heck of a news day yesterday around the NFL. Just your initial thoughts. We'll give you the floor to talk about what you think as an NFL insider when everything is such in the news with the Mike Vrabel, Dianna Russini situation that surfaced yesterday.
No, listen, not my story. Didn't report it. Saw it like everybody else did. And I guess my thought would be, I don't know what's right. I don't know what's wrong. I feel bad for the families involved. It's unfortunate. I know both individuals. And yeah, I guess my first thought would be that they went to the families of the people involved. And, I just wish everybody the best and hope everything works out with everybody.
Again, Dianna Russini called it a media frenzy, when the fact is the vast, vast majority of national, legacy, or even local legacy, I say legacy media, mainstream media,
sure,
hasn't touched the thing. The only comments on record you've gotten from Schefter, or we just played Colin Cowherd from yesterday, was them mentioning it to explain why they're not talking about it.
What Schefter just said there was the most wishy-washy thing you could possibly say.
Well, and the other thing
I don't know what's good. I don't know what's bad. I really don't know what to say.
Well, and the other thing is, as soon as you start expressing...
You don't know what's right or wrong?
Yeah.
Yeah, and once you
not
start...
my story. Didn't report it.
Go ahead.
No, once you start expressing concern for the families, you're acknowledging that.
Right.
And I was just going to say that, Mazz, that he sort of gave it away.
Yes, then you obviously think it's legit. So, it's hard not to believe that. We've all seen enough to know what the reality is in the world. And so, and I'm with you on the part of, don't sit here and claim victim through the whole thing. So it's just...
Well, the whole thing about it's been an anti-frenzy. Again, I can only personalize it. And Mazz and I worked at the Boston Herald for a long time. I worked there 19 years. If this story happened in my day and I covered the Patriots, I wouldn't want to cover it either. I don't want it because that's a real pain then to have to show up to the stadium every day after, but I would be compelled to by my boss, or they would have given it to the inside track. The Herald would have gone with this. And the modern day Herald, I get it home delivered. Finally today, I think this is the first time the story landed on the front page. if I'm not mistaken. I didn't notice it previous weeks. I get an early edition. Maybe it was on a later edition that I missed. I went back and looked online today because they post their front cover. I don't think it's been on their front cover all week. If it has been, forgive me, you can correct me. But I couldn't find it if it was. If it was on the front cover before today, then I missed it. But I tried to look it up, and I can't find it. But this is what we would have been doing from day one. Dianna Russini in a really pretty, revealing dress with legs out, guns out, guns blazing, on the front page with a picture of Mike Vrabel, sort of a goofy smile pointing at her. Red flag. Coach scribe huddle out of bounds, experts say. And I saw this. I'm like, finally, guys. Or do you want to sell a newspaper or not? I mean, like, there's a whole another piece to this where, we're not here to save the world or save journalism or, take some sort of ethical, moral perch. How about business? How about talking and covering something that people are interested in? Do you want to sell a newspaper or not? It's like, finally, my God. But it's just a way to illustrate this has been anything but a frenzy.
Well, I'm looking at the last 9 Herald front pages, and this was the first.
It took them 6 days and 9 covers to finally put a picture of Russini in a pretty dress on the front cover. What is the matter with that? I don't know you. I don't recognize you. I don't want to know you. You're a tabloid. What are you there for? If not to titillate, like that's the whole point. How chicken bleep do you have to be as the Herald to not put a picture of her on the front cover for 8 days? What a disgrace. You have no right to call yourself a tabloid. I don't recognize you. I don't want to recognize you. What a joke. The Globe, we have higher standards and blah, blah, blah. Like, I can half get why they stick their nose up to it. How we call them, bow-tied bum kissers or whatever? Boring broadsheet. Like, I get it. A higher standard. Oh, stuff it. But at least they can hide behind that. The Herald, what's your excuse? What took you so long?
They're supposed to be our New York Post.
Every day you put her on the cover until the thing, goes away. And now it starts to get worse because now aren't the mainstream media going to be compelled to report on this?
You would think so. Again, she just lost her job over it. So I believe that it's now a media story more than anything else. I don't know how it doesn't get covered now.
It was always a media story. Always. That was always the bigger story. Conflict of interest and how you cover your sources and all that. Like that was always sort of the bigger, more legitimate, quote unquote, kind of angle to this. It is a real media story. I mean, there's parameters and rules and things of that nature on that side of it. So that was always the story.
Not only is it a media story, it's about the oldest one in the book.
I mean, but it's an important media. So if you're interested in the role of the media, it's an important one. Again, I'm not looking to save the world. So whatever. But if you do take it seriously, it's like one of the most important topics there is in the media. Chad Finn, the Globe media writer, put it in his Sunday notes, but it was the second item. He led with the Nesson score bug. And the second item was Vrabel Russini. Okay. I mean, I don't like the Nesson score bug either. This is a more interesting story. Are we going to cover it? You can or not. I mean, it's all up to you. It's different. It's changed. But if the Herald can't do this, you can't do anything. Good grief. But part of her statement I don't like is that she plays the victim. When the page first item first appeared, she wrote, and this was again in her resignation letter to The Athletic that was obtained by the Associated Press. She writes to her former boss, Steven Ginsberg, the executive editor of The Athletic. When the page 6 item first appeared, The Athletic supported me unequivocally, expressed confidence in my work and pride in my journalism. For that, I am grateful. In the days that followed, unfortunately, commentators in various media have engaged in self-feeding speculation that is simply unmoored from the facts. Moreover, this media frenzy is hurtling forward without regard for the review process The Athletic is trying to complete. It continues to escalate, fueled by repeated leaks, and I have no interest in submitting to a public inquiry that has already caused far more damage than I am willing to accept. Rather than allowing this to continue, I have decided to step aside now before my current contract expires on June 30th. I do so not because I accept the narrative that has been constructed around this episode, but because I refuse to lend it further oxygen or to let it define me or my career. So I just don't like the playing the victim part. You made the bed. And furthermore, she's still protesting a little too much. Like, the narrative that's been constructed around this episode.
It's been minimal at best. There really hasn't been much out there.
But even if this episode ended in the hot tub and the rooftop of the bungalow at sunset, even if it ended there, that's cool.
No, it's not. No, and again, you and I were just talking about this off the air. I mean, there isn't an editor in America that would think that is fine. No, I'm not kidding. There's not an error. And so, again, like none of us were hiding in the closet. You know what I mean? So who the hell knows as far as that? But just the hot tub photo and the holding hands is enough. It's just, it's in that job, you can't do it. You can't do it.
What frenzy are you talking about? I mean, I'm not on the I'm not on the web, period, hardly. So I'm sure there's corners of the web where people are being complete a-holes. But that's with everything. What frenzy is she referring to? People have been basically hands off the thing, I think. Just the opposite. I think people have gone way easy on them and him especially. So there's no frenzy that I've seen. You want frenzy? George in New Hampshire. Go ahead, George.
How you doing, Mike? I got to really, I've given you a lot of grief, Mike, over the years, but I really have to commend you on your take on this situation regarding the media. And again, Mike, I called you yesterday and I told you that she was done. She was done. I called you yesterday.
I know, George. I know. I think most people felt that was.
Yeah. And another thing too, Mike, is I got to, like I said, I have to commend you.
Okay, I haven't really done anything. Why are you shaking your head?
Because why does it always have to be I was right? Like everybody wants to turn it into a story about themselves.
Most everyone thought she was toast.
I know, yeah. It's just as soon as they started reviewing, look from the beginning. Once there's the doubt introduced and you're in that job, it's over. It's over. There's no way you're going to escape that. The pictures are damning enough. Again, without having someone hiding in the closet, actually doing anything else. Who the hell knows? But what? So what? He was the only guy who knew?
Good call, George.
That just drives me crazy.
Jim in Connecticut. Go ahead, Jim.
I was right. I hate that.
I just ready?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Hey, guys. One angle that I don't think has come up very much, and Mike, you just alluded to it a little bit ago, that Vrabel hasn't taken a lot of heat for this. Every corporation, as you mentioned before one of the breaks, has a sexual misconduct policy.
Yeah.
And a lot of people think about that as, peer-to-peer or inside your workplace. But you also mentioned, and you are correct.
Yes, it includes vendors and clients and all that. Yes, absolutely. So give me your point.
Correct. My angle is, I'd be very shocked if the Kraft Corporation isn't doing their own investigation of that situation in the context of, do you possibly see a potential issue for Vrabel?
Let me tell you what. If he were 5-12 and they thought he was making too much money, yeah, they would go after him. Yep, you bet. He just went to the Super Bowl, and everyone loves him. So they're not going to do anything. But any mistake you make like this is directly related to what you produce for the company.
Yeah, if this was Gerard Mayo that last year, this would be
boom.
Yeah,
that's right.
Maybe they'd be
front and center.
They try and weasel out of the contract using it.
Well, look, this is basic. Don't you? This is basically what's going on with Russini. I mean, she's reaching the end of her deal, and she didn't have one, right?
Yep.
So maybe they were looking for an excuse to push her out the door.
Well, she made it easy on him.
So, look, when you get to within the final couple of months, usually if they really want you, that gets addressed earlier than that.
If Schefter was in the hot tub canoodling, did he lose his job? I know, Mazz. Don't take it so literally. But, I mean, you know what I mean.
No, if he were covering women's sports or something?
Yes, exactly.
And he was at the end of his deal? Oh, I see what you're saying, because he's good.
I'm just saying, right? It's
suspension.
It's inversely related, or it's proportionate to what you produce for the company.
Like everything.
Exactly.
Yeah, everything. Again, the guy who's the star player is going to get away with more. You'll put up with that.
But this is the point on Vrabel.
Yeah.
If he were
more vulnerable.
If he were on an expensive contract and the team wasn't performing, the Crafts would they would use it as leverage against him.
You mean if he were like Bill at the end?
They'd go after him.
Yes.
Or they'd use it. And maybe they could. Maybe their sexual harassment policy, or their whatever you want to call that.
Yeah.
Their HR policies. Maybe he did run afoul of it.
There might even be a character, an embarrassment clause, or whatever. I call it embarrassment, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Some sort of something that reflects poorly on the organization. Vrabel should. If you're the Patriots, you should be asking about this, and there should be some consequence. Now, I don't know what that is. So, whether that is a slap on the wrist, or I don't know I don't know that they can do anything to him from a disciplinary standpoint.
Listen,
but they should let him know that they're not happy with it, and that they don't want it to happen again.
Yeah. Just stay off of page 6. I know Kraft has landed there, but he owns a team. I own the team. I'm not subject to the HR policy. I wrote the HR policy. Everyone else, don't land on page 6.
If you're going to ask your players to not make news off the field, then don't you have to sort of subscribe to the same rule?
Yes. A long commercial-free segment comes your way next.
Now, more of Felger and Mazz on the Sports Hub.
You do envision resting some guys?
Not really. Guys were banged up. They got the rest. They're out there right now. If anyone's still whining, I might think about it. But other than that, I wanna go with the guys who I think who maybe possible start the playoffs.
Just a quick Bruins minute as they close out their season tonight. Stakes. Well, there's really no stakes unless you care about who they play in the first round. They right now are the first wild card. If they win tonight in any way, shape, or form, 2 points guarantees that they're the first wild card, which means they would face Buffalo in the first round. If they lose tonight or only get a point, if they lose tonight in any way, shape, or form, Ottawa could catch them. I think Ottawa plays tomorrow night or tonight. Ottawa plays whenever they play tonight or tomorrow night, would catch them, and you would then face Carolina. Marco Sturm, said he's going to play everybody tonight because he wants, he didn't mention anything about the opponent. He just wanted to keep them fresh or go with what he's going to go with in the playoffs to continue to iron out the kinks in their game, in game 82, if you will. Should they care about who they play?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
100%. And the other thing is, I think this one's easy because of the way it sets up. Today's Tuesday. You're not going to play till the weekend, Saturday. So I don't want all that time off for guys who missed the last game, too. No, play. Go out and play. Get everybody the game. Then lick your wounds and also engineer your opponent. Your chances are better against Buffalo. So it's the NHL playoffs. Anything can happen. Carolina could get bounced by someone in the first round, just like Tampa did against Columbus a number of years ago. Yeah, send them out there.
Kevin, can I ask you a quick favor while we're talking about this? Are there look-ahead lines? In other words, are there odds on Bruins Hurricanes, and then are there odds on Bruins Sabres? I think most of us think the Sabres are a better draw, as you just said, Mazz. Mm-hmm. Would you agree with that, Murray? The Sabres are a better draw?
Absolutely.
Why?
Because Carolina is a team that's year in, year out in the playoffs. And also the Bruins, I think, are at a mental disadvantage having to go into that building that they can really never win in. I don't want them to have to play the Hurricanes. The Sabres, first time in the playoffs in, 15 years, whatever the hell it is? Yeah, they're a very good team, but, I don't know, young. They're not seasoned, in terms of, getting into the playoffs like Carolina year in, year out. I think the Bruins would have a puncher's chance against that Buffalo team. Carolina, I think it would be a 5-game series at best.
They're going to be an underdog either way.
Yeah.
Right? And look, I was just looking at some of the numbers. Statistically, they're very comparable. I mean, goals scored, goals against, goal differential, wins. Buffalo only has a couple of fewer wins than Carolina does.
Listen, I hate the Bruins against the Hurricanes. I think that is a tushing waiting to happen. But that doesn't mean I think bring on Buffalo. No, Buffalo should smoke you too. They're better than you. But you did take 3 or 4 of them from during the year, I think, if I'm not mistaken. And as you mentioned, I mean, I can talk myself into reasons why you would beat Buffalo. They have institutional loserdom in their DNA.
Yeah.
They haven't been here. There's going to be a lot of pressure on them to not be one and done. The first time in the playoffs in 17 years, blah, blah, blah. Like, I get it. It's just sort of the aesthetics of facing the Sabres versus, and not that the Carolina Hurricanes are the 1970s Montreal Canadiens, but Buffalo is one of the great loser franchises of our lifetime.
Yep.
You'd always want to face the Sabres.
Definitely. Yeah, they lose the first one. People up there will start asking questions. Maybe they squeeze the sticks a little tighter.
Let me tell you, they'll smoke you too.
Maybe.
But, see, I mean, that's right. Like, I just don't want to act like, oh, yeah, Buffalo, bring them on. No, they're better. They're better than you two. They're just better in a different way.
I bet you the odds are comparable.
So that would be my guess. I bet you Vegas looks at it as the same. I bet I don't know if they do. Kevin's still looking. I don't know. My guess is they're probably, as Mazz said, probably one and the same.
I mean, Carolina's got 111 points. Buffalo's got 108. Goal differential plus 55, plus 48. Goals for 294 for Carolina, 285 for Buffalo.
What's Buffalo's goalie situation, Kev? I'm sorry to throw this on you. Haven't they been platooning guys? They don't have a set guy, do they?
I believe they have been. It's Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen.
Yep.
And Alex Lyon.
Is he a Finn?
Luukkonen is a Finn. I'm the Pekka Rinne.
Yeah.
Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen.
I'm just guessing. Bring on the Sabres.
And then Alex Lyon.
I've changed my mind. Bring on Buffalo.
Alex Lyon started the series with Florida the year the Bruins collapsed. And then they went to Bobrovsky afterward.
And he's their second goalie?
I believe he still is. They've had a weird situation. For being a really good team, they've had kind of a weird goalie situation this year.
I thought they were unsettled in that. It's just...
Take your chance on that.
But if they're going to start the Finn, bring on the Sabres. Another choking Finn?
But Carolina's got Boosie, right?
Yeah.
He looked a little loosey.
He was loosey.
In the second.
Loosey Boosie. No doubt. He did not look good in that game. But bring me the choking Finn any day of the week. I mean, they'll still beat you. They should beat you, but I'll take my chances.
Yeah, I'd take a shot with Buffalo.
It's primarily been Luukkonen since the end of last month. They were doing the Swayman Olmark every other game, but it's been Luukkonen primarily since.
All right, I'm in. I'm in on the Sabres and the choking Finn. It just bothers me that they're going to play everybody tonight, so Pastrnak can get his 30th goal and or 100th point. They're just going to stat hump the crap out of that, which is just so gross. And the only thing more gross than the fact that they're just doing it to get him his stats is that the organization lets it happen, encourages it. The media that covers the team doesn't call it out. A lot of the fans don't care. It's so grimy. Just stat humping so Pastrnak can get to 100 points. I just hate it. But that's me. All right, so
can we quickly touch on what happened with the Maple Leafs last night?
Oh.
Or do you want to do the headlines and then hold it?
No, they just the Maple Leafs did a tank to remember. Did a tank of all tanks, and they're in. They're now in the 5th spot. You have the Toronto Maple Leafs first-round pick. It's top 5 protected. Starting about 2-3 weeks ago, they went on a tanking journey to remember, and they got to number 5 a couple of games ago. Last night, they were up 3-0 in the first period, gave that lead back. They were up 5-3 in the third period, gave it back, including an own goal where I swear their defenseman shot it into his own net. Did you see this play?
Yeah.
I have not seen this.
I forgot about that. I was going to mention. I wrote it down in our notes.
It's something the league should look into.
They gave away. They were up 3-0 and then 5-3 in the third, and they gave away the lead on a play in which I'm pretty sure their own defenseman swiped it into his own net. As bad as any NBA tank job you want to see is what the Toronto Maple Leafs just did.
It had a real feel of in-between periods. Someone came down and said, guys, what are you doing here? You're going to – listen, we need to lose this game, you idiots.
And then they lost it in regulation to make sure they didn't even get a point. Right now they have 1 game left. They're a point clear of Seattle, who's got 2 games left. I think Toronto has Ottawa in their last game. Ottawa needs it for the same reason you do if they want to avoid Carolina. That game's either tonight or tomorrow night. There's no way in hell Toronto's going to win that one after all the work they've put in tanking. And so you just got porked out of a top 5 pick, presuming the ping pong balls go the way they are supposed to. Now,
from a karmic standpoint, I'd like to think that they don't.
Right?
Not just for the way that they tanked that game, but they're also the Maple Leafs.
Right.
And they are bathed in pure loserdom.
Right. And if you're going to
Can't you see those squids saying, hey, it's been a bad season, but at least we're going to get a top 5 pick. It's protected. We're not going to lose it to the Bruins. And the next thing you know, they lose it to the Bruins. That feels like them.
But that's what you deserve. If you tank, if you purposely lose, you shouldn't be rewarded by the sporting gods, by the hockey gods. And so I'd like to think they're going to get porked by the ping pong balls because they just tempted fate a little too badly with this thing. Have you seen the own goal yet?
This play is unbelievable.
He shot it into his own net, beat his goalie clean.
Not only beat him clean, it was a good backhand. It was top corner.
What the Maple Leafs have been doing is embarrassing.
Wow. Holy crap.
They deserve to get.
That is unbelievable.
They deserve to get porked by the ping pong balls.
Give that man a raise. Holy crap.
It wasn't like just an own goal off his skate or whoops. No. He fired it into his own net.
It's unbelievable.
You ever see anything like that?
No. And he's faking the fact that someone was holding his stick down. He rifled that sucker.
Okay.
Wow.
Meanwhile, lead story today, breaking this hour, Dianna Russini has resigned from The Athletic after her episode with Mike Vrabel last week. What does that mean for Vrabel, and what are your thoughts on the story? First, the details here from Big Jim, and then we're right back. No commercials here, just 90 seconds, and we're right back.